Welcome to Speak for Yourself, Marcellus Wiley, with this believer up here. You're a Justin Bieber fanatic. Can you let the world know?
I'm not about that action, but I'm about that Bieber, boss.
That's real, that's real.
Yeah,
Purple Rain at his finest. He's losing swag war, so let's get it started. In Dallas. Well, Pro Football Focus recently said the Cowboys have the best wide receiver group in the NFL. That's right. And CeeDee Lamb definitely agrees. Lamb said last season opened their eyes for sure. He added, quote, offensively at the skill position, I feel we can compete with anybody. We're one of the best in the NFL. Say it with your chest. So, Acho, can the Cowboys compete with anybody in the NFC?
Based upon CeeDee Lamb's thought process, you could argue, yeah, Sel. But here's the problem with this thought process. The game of football isn't 7-on-7.
Oh, don't do them.
7-on-7, y'all know what it is. High school, 7-on-7, even early college level, intramural leagues, if you will. You ain't got no offensive linemen. And defense is, to a degree, relatively irrelevant. It's just about how many points can you put up. In the passing league, Cowboys would have the best, and I mean the best, 7-on-7 roster in all of football. Imagine you got Dak Prescott at your quarterback. All that matters is your receivers, your tight ends, and your running back. Zeke in 7-on-7 can still do a little something. But here's the problem, CeeDee Lamb. You got to play with an offensive line in football.
Yeah.
And your offensive line, based off the Pro Football Focus rankings, was roughly 28th or 29th in run blocking and 26th in pass blocking.
Damn.
So when it comes down to competing with anybody, I got to look across the spectrum. So CeeDee Lamb, he hit the nail on the head. Their offensive skill position groups, yeah, y'all got that. But offensive line, you're all-pro, probably future Hall of Fame left tackle.
Hall of Flame.
Byron Smith, Hall of Fame and Hall of Fame.
Hall of
really,
Flame-o.
he's flamed out. But Hall of Fame left tackle ain't played 16 games since 2016.
You are wrong.
I'm just accurate.
You are accurate.
Accurate.
Accurately wrong.
I'm accurately offensive, but I'm accurate.
Oh, man.
Tyron Smith, a beast. He ain't barely played. Lyle Collins missed all of last year with a hip injury. So can the Cowboys compete with anybody in the NFC? Absolutely not. Because the problem is there's more to football than offense. This is going to lead me into a deeper conversation that my notes ain't even taking me there. But America, Sel, please.
Right now?
Understand. Yes, right
Yes.
Right now, y'all understand. It doesn't matter how many points you put up if you can't stop nobody. Y'all remember last year when the Cleveland Browns marched into AT&T Stadium, put up 49 of them things on the Cowboys? 49 of them things, y'all. 49!
Let me get a 49 piece.
Real talk.
Extra sauce.
They don't even go up that high on the menu. They put up a 49 piece on the Cowboys. The Browns.
Golly.
Before the Browns even hit their stride. Like, before the Browns were even actually a competent team, which happened the latter half of the season, they put up a 49-piece. Atlanta Falcons put up a 39-piece. Seattle Seahawks put up a 35-piece. So, Sel, you can't compete with anybody if you can't stop anybody. And as I look at it, Cowboys ain't competing with anybody because they can't stop anybody. So they'll be able to compete with the lower rungs of teams. They'll be able to look competent on the score sheet because of CeeDee Lamb and the rest of them offensive cats. But as far as competition, it takes more than a couple wide receivers and a talented QB. It takes a team.
I hear that. You did go deep. You went there. Pretty good. No, I got this. Now, chill. CeeDee, he's smiling at me. You know why? He's like, handle that. I got you, CeeDee Lamb. Not a problem. Yes, the Cowboys can compete with anybody in the NFC. And you know that's the real answer, because I'm going to use you against you. Acho, when did you first start playing the game of football?
I was 8 years old, played for the SVAA Denver Broncos.
What does that stand for?
It's like YMCA.
Oh, wait.
Like a poor man's YMCA.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Way to know your roots. What does it stand for? I don't know. I ain't know. But anyway, there was a time, I don't know, was it when you were 8? There was a time when all of a sudden you started to stick out. There was a time when all of a sudden your talent started to trump over those around you, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you became a professional athlete.
Yes, sir.
So obviously there was a moment where that talent, when it started to stick out, it started to talk to you as well as to others. All CeeDee Lamb is saying is, I look around the room and I see a lot of talent. First of all, I look in the mirror, I say, I am CeeDee Lamb. What was he, second in receiving yards as a rookie? Then he looks around, he sees his quarterback. He's like, damn, bruh, stay healthy this year. That's talent right there. He looks at those skill position players. Is that Ezekiel Elliott with the gut now? Not the cutoff used to have a six-pack, now it's a gut. Anyway, he's like, he sees talent everywhere. So now he's starting to realize this is a talent-driven conversation. And in that talent-driven conversation, he knows that they have the proper ingredients. Think about any team's mental makeup. It starts with talent. How many times you been on the team before and you looked around and you was like, we better have chemistry because we ain't got the talent.
Facts.
That's not the Dallas Cowboys. So don't forget where you came from like you forgot the SVAA All-Stars.
Why you yelling?
I don't know, because I'm hyper on this one. Okay, so one, that is something to start from, and that's a healthy mindset. Add up the talent first, because coaches do it. Why do they scout? Why do they evaluate? They're looking for chemistry? No. After they get the talent in the building, then they start to work on the chemistry. So the talent, check. Now you try to clown 7-on-7. You got to play with the linemen. You got to play with the hogs up front. You got to play in the trenches, too. We'll get there, but don't you lie. How many times in high school, I can only go to high school with this one, did you hear about your 7-on-17? Because I ain't playing in my fat ass. But anyway, you hear about them out there balling. Oh, y'all beat them? Y'all beat up on Santa Monica? What? Oh, y'all handle that? And it gave you just that much more confidence because you say when we add the proper ingredients to what we already have in the recipe, let's start cooking. Now let's look at what we're going to serve up. Look at this division. Dak Prescott owns this division, big dog, 19-6. If you exclude the rookie year, we're talking about 16-3 against NFC East. Let's look in the NFC East. Let's look at the Washington football team with the third worst total offense in the NFL last year. You scared of them? Let's look at the New York football Giants. I could just say their name and you ain't scared of them. And then you could talk about the Eagles with their new first-time head coach and question marks all around that roster. And as you said yesterday, aging stars everywhere. Why wouldn't the Dallas Cowboys think that they could trump not only their division, but get into the playoffs? What did the Washington football team do against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs? Gave them some business. A little something. A little something. Green Bay Packers, what did they do? A couple decisions away from a little something. The point is, even if you win it all as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you still gonna know you've been in the fight. How come that fight can't be the Dallas Cowboys and all the talent they possess?
Because hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Oh, you go to their practices now?
Let's have a conversation, Selden. Most anybody wouldn't be as credible in having. Number one, because you played for the Dallas Cowboys. Number two, I grew up in Dallas and covered the Cowboys at the start. Let's go somewhere where I don't think anybody has yet gone. What's really the issue with the Cowboys?
What's the issue?
Really the issue? Because in the NFL, in life, you typically have to work to achieve fame, fortune, status. But inherently, by being on the Cowboys roster, you automatically adopt fame, fortune, and status.
No lies.
Because you play for the Dallas Cowboys. When you play for the Cowboys, everybody knows who you are. Even if you're not a baller, you still playing for the Cowboys. So you inherit baller status.
Yeah, that's real.
So the Cowboys, it's not about their talent, Sel. The problem is closed mouths don't get fed. And when you go to the Dallas Cowboys, your mouth is already closed because you're already full. What are you full of?
Full of what?
You're full of fame already, big dog.
What kind of fame is that? Come on, dog.
Does it matter? Let's talk athletes.
Okay.
You were an athlete. I was an athlete at the highest level. You longer than I. The world already knows that, but I remind myself of my proper place in my athletic career.
Man, let's go.
The fame is this, man. Oh, wait, people already know who I am. People already following me. People already paying attention to what I do. CeeDee Lamb is only the third best receiver on the Cowboys roster. Let's be real. He's the third best receiver. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, as it stands right now.
How long is this going to last?
Maybe just
I'm about to say that's about to switch quick.
But it's going to switch real quick. CeeDee Lamb is more talented probably than all of them. But as it stands right now, third best receiver on the roster.
Okay.
But we interviewing CeeDee Lamb. Who is the third best receiver on the Miami Dolphins roster? I don't know.
Who's the best?
Who's the third best receiver on the Arizona Cardinals roster?
Third best?
Yes, third best.
Christian Kirk or something.
Exactly, it's Christian Kirk.
It's your boy.
But the fact of the matter is, third best receiver on the Cowboys roster, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. We already know who these guys are. They have the fame. They already have the fortune to a degree. They have the status. So I'm not talking about the Cowboys being able to compete. Yes, they got talent. but hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Why are the Cowboys in a 25-year drought as far as NFC championship games? Because as soon as you get there, you adopt what you have to work for everywhere else. And because you adopt what you have to work for everywhere else, you don't have to work for it. And hard work gonna beat that talent if that talent don't work hard.
That wasn't your take. There's no way you grew up in Dallas playing for the SVAA All-Stars that you forgot about, and all of a sudden come up with that take. You stole that take.
No,
or
sir.
you borrowed it from yourself, and your self-hate you possess. You don't love the Dallas in you. And that's what that sounded like. That sounded like some...
Am I lying?
No.
You played for the Cowboys.
No, you're not lying. You're exaggerating. You're telling the truth to a degree.
Okay.
And then you're pouring on a lot of your self-hate. And it sounded like what I just heard. Let me say this. Because I am a person that now have lived with means more so than I did not live with means. Okay. And that came to me the hard way. Curtis Conway, my big brother. I don't have any brothers, but Curtis Conway is a guy I really look up to in terms of character. And one day we were talking deep, and he was kind of scolding me on something. He was like, because he know me, I don't give a damn, dog. I really don't. I love me. But my grandma raised something different. She was like, don't care about what they think, and sometimes I don't. And then it gets me in trouble. Seaway hit me up. He's like, hey, bro, come on, man. He's like, you got to remember, everybody doesn't know you like you know you.
That's correct.
Think about that.
Correct.
And this story's going to circle back around. But he was like, dog, you grew up broke as hell. You grew up on the block. Everybody know you got your stripes. But you only did that for 21 years. How old are you now, Wiley? I'm like 46. He's like, that's 25 years removed from that. Them stripes are kind of foggy for some people to see. They don't understand that. But I'm going to take you back to those days because those days matter in this conversation. There's a time and place, and you've been through this as well. You ever just look at yourself and say, damn, I've been famous forever. Famous forever is not Drake. Okay, famous forever is not Justin Bieber. Famous forever is like everywhere I go, I get recognized for a skill or for something that people want to clamor around, right?
Where you going? Where you going?
Where am I going? Don't act like a Dallas Cowboy is the first day that you become a famous football player. High school, when you walk around and everybody's saying, that's Acho. You famous, relatively. When you get to college, you went to UT, and you gonna act like if you're not a Dallas Cowboy, you ain't felt the love. I've been on 6th Street. I seen when y'all walk around in them sweatsuits. Oh, boy. Why? First of all, why you got sweatsuit on? Because you want that fame. Famous forever. Do not hijack this team in terms of work ethic, in terms of their attributes mentally, in terms of their potential,
but
based on some fame.
I have to.
They've been there, bro.
I have to. Why? Because by roster alone, the Dallas Cowboys should be able to compete with anybody. Dak Prescott.
That's why
talented.
CeeDee Lamb is saying
Amari
this.
Cooper, $100 million receiver. Ezekiel Elliott, $95 million running back. DeMarcus Lawrence, $100 million defensive end. Jalen Smith, a $50 million linebacker.
You're making his
by
point.
Talent alone,
You're making his
they
point.
should be able to compete.
That's the conversation.
But why can't they? If
they haven't realized their talent fully.
But why not? The only reason you haven't realized your talent fully, which the Cowboys have yet to in probably at least 15 to 20 years, is because there's a limiting reactant. So what is the limiting reactant? The limiting reactant is you get pride before you ever actually have to work for it. That's what's going on here,
They won 3 or 4, dog, and it still had a star on their helmet. Don't act like fame derailed them back then. Oh, it didn't. So now you act like it's different now. What, you think they inherit the championship equity of the 90s?
Yes.
No,
that's exactly what I think.
Dog, no, when you were playing in the night, dog, you were 1 or 2 years old. I don't know when they won their first Super Bowl. Bruh, the Cowboys were maybe because my dad is from Tyler, Texas. Maybe because my dad's a Cowboys fan. Cowboys been famous forever, bruh. Stop acting like this is a brand new phenomenon that's hitting CeeDee Lamb and hitting his team. CeeDee Lamb has been there 1 year. Why are you bringing up 15
but that's
years?
My point. That's my point.
Why are you bringing up 15?
Because, CD, you only been in the league 1 year.
Right.
So you don't even actually truly know what talent in the NFL looks like. You know what talent in college looks like because you were the most talented dude at the University of Oklahoma, and you was a bad man in the Big 12. I had to watch you every week when I was a college analyst. But CD, you don't really know what talent in the NFL looks like. So you're not really adequately equipped to say that you're one of the most talented receiver corps in the NFL. Because what do you really know about talented receiver corps in the NFL?
Why? Since you're an analyst, you think you know more than CeeDee Lamb because he's a player and he's in college?
In theory, we should.
No, you
because
shouldn't.
CeeDee playing in the games while we watching the games.
Hold on.
So in theory, we actually should, sir.
First of all, the question is, can the Cowboys compete? Is based off of a talent conversation that CeeDee Lamb is having with his teammates. And guess what? You can't tell this dude what to believe. Whatever you would have told him as advice wouldn't have been good enough because he's believed more in himself than any advice he's gotten, right?
That's fair.
And where did that all start? What's the building blocks of your confidence and self-esteem? Results. Talent starts the result process. I've talked to my doctor, I've talked to my therapist, and it's something they always tell me, that you can't out-train DNA. Oh, now, you better, hey, I know you're single, so whoever you're married to, I ain't saying go LeVar Ball all the way, but think about who you married. You can't out-train DNA. I got a little 5-year-old dude. I don't know what he gonna be. I don't even know if he's gonna be an athlete. But right now, he walking around looking like little baby LeBron. He bigger, faster, stronger, taller than everybody. And every parent comes up to me first, they come with their pleasantries, and then they be like, damn, my son can't do that. And I was like, I didn't make my son do that, but it's a talent conversation. He already is sticking out. You're mad at a guy for knowing and realizing why he's sticking out. You can't suppress that.
No, I'm not
Yes,
I'm not mad at him.
Yes,
I'm correcting him.
Okay.
I'm correcting
With your
him.
self-hate?
No, with my self-accuracy.
Okay,
And
let's
there's
go.
a difference.
Let's go.
See, here's a problem, Sal. What we have to understand is just because something is offensive does not mean it is not true.
I'll give you that.
And I'm trying to say, the Cowboys, they can't compete with anybody in the NFL. That's not offensive, or it might be offensive, but it's still true. So now the question is, why can't they? That's what it really just
Why
comes
can't
down
they?
to. Why can't they? Let me tell you why they
They were
can't.
13-3 a few years ago, bruh. 2 times they won the division.
5
2
years
years
ago?
they've won the division twice with a healthy Dak.
Since they
Don't
were
do that.
13-3, Ezekiel Elliott has been on a constant decline.
Facts.
When they were 13-3, they had a Hall of Fame tight end in Jason Witten before he retired and then
Facts.
came back. When they were 13-3, they had an all-pro slot receiver in Cole Beasley. When they were 13-3, they still had a Des Bryant. When they were 13-3, they had Tyron Smith, they had Travis Frederick, they had Zach Martin. This is not the same Cowboys team. The main carryover player is Dak Prescott. But call a spade, Sal. Dak Prescott's 20-17 in his last 37, sir. Call a spade, Sal. Dak Prescott's gone to the playoffs twice in 4 years. Call a spade,
That ain't that
Sal.
bad.
Dak Prescott didn't even make the playoff. Wait, he didn't finish the thing. Wait, he got hurt last year. So if we're talking about the whole body of work, Dak Prescott, there's less than a 50% chance you make the playoffs. Statistically speaking, I don't create the news, I simply report it. There's less than a 50% chance that Dak Prescott makes the playoffs when he starts the season. Meanwhile, Tom Brady only missed the playoffs once in his 20 seasons. So let's stop acting as though this Dallas Cowboys is some shoo-in to even be able to compete in the NFC East. I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands accuracy may be offensive. Dak Prescott's no guarantee that y'all going far. Your plethora of wide receivers is no guarantee y'all going far.
Man, we need to hang. When's this pandemic over? When can we break quarantine? What the hell? Mind over matter, big dog. Let me give it to you like this. You hating on young CeeDee Lamb because you can do that, because you a vet. And you already been there, done that. Now you over here, kick back, air-conditioned studio, talking trash. Well, when Tom Brady, active player, old as hell, older than you,
Yes, sir.
but still when Tom Brady exercises his belief to go to a losing team because he sees nothing but talent, it's applause. But then when CeeDee Lamb is already on a team with talent, with belief in that same talent, all of a sudden you're going to shoot the young homie down. That's messed up. Let me give you one more point.
Please.
Acho, you are very talented. I told you that when I first met you. When I meet you, 5, 6, 7 years, it was a while ago, right? And I remember you came in the studio. I was over there on the other side of town wearing the wrong colors, cuz. Now you're saying, let me stop. And I was wearing the wrong color. And we talked it up and we chopped it up and we stayed in contact.
Yes, sir.
And look at you, dog. And you know where it all started? It didn't start with the chemistry you had with your co-host, because you didn't even have a show, damn it, broke ass. It started with the fact that you had talent, and that talent took you right here. And it's probably gonna take you past here. Point being, I never try to suppress the belief you had in your talent. But now you want to go over there and do it to CeeDee Lamb. Go ahead, CeeDee. This is your mentor. Coming up, Trevor Lawrence says it's unhealthy to try to prove critics wrong. We'll tell you if we agree. But first, Brett Favre says he wants politics out of sports. We'll give you our thoughts on that next. Speak for yourself. Did I handle him, CeeDee? You still smiling?
Welcome back. Hall of Famer Brett Favre said in a recent interview that he does not want politics involved with sports. Favre said, quote, "I want to watch all the important parts of the game, not what's going on outside of the game. And I think the general fan feels the same way. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I don't watch anymore. It's not about the game anymore. And I tend to agree," Favre says. So, Marcellus, what's your reaction to Brett Favre's comments?
Man, a win, a lose, and a draw in this situation. How there are 3 sides to every story. There's 3 sides to this conversation. It's Brett's side. And it's the side of the active athlete, I guess, who's talking politics while being active as a participant. And it's then the truth, or I should say, the reception of all of this. Let me start by saying this. I don't mind politics in sports or any other aspect of the real world colliding with sports, because I think sports is the most diverse, welcoming place of all issues. Think about just all of the backgrounds, just to think about the demographics of a sports team, let alone a sports league. Go back to my first day. I remember where I played. You don't remember where you started, SVAA, whatever the hell that stands for. I do. Inglewood Football Junior All-American Football League. That's where I started. And I was a beast from hello. But I remember putting my hand in the huddle the first time and looking at different complexions, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. Everything came together in that huddle. So I don't have a problem with politics and sports if you fast forward, because it's really a microcosm of life. I respect that. My problem isn't the politics, it's the lying. It's the propaganda. It's the agenda-based favoritism that is happening right now. And I think that's what Brett Favre wants to talk about. Let's not lie to people. It's the force-fed manure that we're expected to digest and process of just trying to watch a participation in a sport. What Brett Favre is trying to say is, look, when you're an athlete, active athlete, there is a lack of qualified minds to talk to great issues. You know what you need to be doing at age 25, like I was doing at age 25? Focusing on your craft, not being a guy who plays the game, goes out there, balls out, goes to the club, comes back home and tries to shoot a full court shot on real world life issues, because the version of you at 25 is dumber than the version of you sitting here at 46. So I do understand some of what Brett Favre is saying. Like, there are PhDs in political science that have a platform on a college radio station of 8 listeners that get ignored. Meanwhile, because you went out there, Marcellus, and had 2 sacks, you got 50 microphones in your face asking you to speak on something out of turn. And I've been in that position before, but more so now these athletes are put in that position. So in short, I'm looking at it like how Brett Favre sees it, and I say, you got a point there. These are not our most qualified citizens to speak on these conversations. But I also look at it like from the other side, because these athletes are a part of the real world. They do have a heartbeat. They do have a community. They do have an opportunity to express themselves and a platform. So I don't want to suppress that. But also, I just want everyone to understand who you're asking these questions to and how they're not properly qualified versus those who are. So it's just a shift in that dynamic. The last part is the reception, because I'm a father and I watch games to watch a game. And I'm watching games now with a 5-year-old son who is digesting identity politics, who is seeing images and hearing things that I either have to mute or distract him from, because it's not time for him to lose his purity by trying to make him understand what's going on in these situations. So there used to be a trust in sports entertainment that has been broken, or at least fractured of late. That is a little disturbing. So I understand where Brett Favre's coming from, but I also understand the athletes and where they're coming from.
I like that. I don't think that anybody truly has an issue with politics in sports. People have an issue with politics they don't agree with in sports.
Say it.
So 1980 was the first year that a Super Bowl champion, because they were the Super Bowl champion, they went to the White House. Since then, every Super Bowl champion has gone to the White House.
Every?
Has been invited.
Oh, okay, invited.
Since then, every Super Bowl champion has been invited to the White House.
Yeah.
And that's just in football. This dates back actually 150 years where champions of sports have gone to the White House. So what I've realized is that in sports, the reward for achieving at the highest level is involvement in politics.
Attendance or involvement?
Involvement.
Okay.
Because attendance is, to a degree, involvement. All we are doing when you're talking about politics and sports is attendance or a lack thereof, respect or a lack thereof, reverence or a lack thereof. So you was in a league during the time period. Remember Salute to Service, where we honor our military between week 10 and week 12 in the NFL. You have military gloves, you have a military towel, you have different things honoring our military. It's politics and sports. A flag in a stadium. It's politics in sports as far as what you're talking about with Brett Favre, not you, the figurative you. Because if kneeling and thus disrespecting a flag is political, then respecting a flag is political. Because the operative issue at hand is whatever you're referencing is the flag.
Yes.
So something pro-flag is political, like something trying to shine a light on issues is political. So politics has always been involved in sports. The issue is not the involvement of politics in sports. What I found is the issue is if it's not the politics you like. Because 1996, Brett Favre, Reggie White, they was at the White House with President Clinton after they won the Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl, that's sports. The White House and President Clinton, that's politics. So Brett Favre, you actually were a participant in politics and sports. And your reward for winning your sport at the highest level was your involvement of politics. So let's really just reframe everything. Why do we have an issue with it? And it's just like society. We don't necessarily have an issue with something. We have an issue when it's the something that we don't necessarily like.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going there. Give me that baton. Let's roll. Mile relay style, not sprint relay style.
Look, people miss that.
I hope they didn't, because we got gems up here. They'll catch that one. Look, the real world collides, intersects with sports on the daily because, one, the participants are coming from the real world. But if you look at sports and then you look at politics, it's interesting that you're going to have a greater appreciation of what politics has done for sports if you were an actual professional athlete. Let's talk about that. When I played in the NFL, 1997 to 2007, the beginning of my career, we didn't go out for the anthem at all. And then when we started to go out for the anthem, it was just an exaggerated warm-up session. Like, no focus. Don't stand there on the sidelines, hand on heart. Like, continue to warm up. You got a game. That's kind of like the priority of why you're here in focus. But then we saw that shift. What Brett Favre is talking about is that shift, exaggerating and continuing to go. Now, is there a tipping point? Is really the conversation. Because sports and politics have always been intertwined because the people who do them are a part of the real world. Is there a tipping point? Think about it. I think there is a tipping point because what we need to understand is it's not about agreement with the identity politics. It's not about agreement of what I'm seeing. It's about what is that doing to lend itself to growing what I'm actually there for in the first place, which is the sport, which is the activity. The layer beneath that is who is actually talking about these politics. Man, I hate to do this to my own brethren, but bruh, I was one of them. I'm guilty. Man, look, baseball players don't even go to college, right? Basketball players are hoping to go one and done. And then football players are in college, but are we in class, all of us? But then you fast forward, once again, as we talked about, as soon as you sign that contract, everyone in the family and everyone in the world assumes you're smarter. No, I'm just richer, and I just got a greater platform. But now you're gonna shove microphones in my face and make me answer questions that I'm just ill-equipped to answer. But when the microphone's in my face, when I have this huge platform, when I do know I have a limited experience in this world, even though it's still in my 20s, I wanna express it. The problem is it's not expressed in totality or with proper perspective. So, that makes people like a Brett Favre sit there and say, if we're not going to go to the source that can really answer this, then why are we even going there in the first place?
But, Sel, let me go somewhere that's going to make people a little uncomfortable. Y'all buckle up if y'all ain't got your seatbelts on your couches at your desk at work. Equality is not political. And what Brett Favre is referencing in these conversations, what we're all referencing in these conversations is stances for equality or the lack of presence of equality. And equality is not political. Why do I say that, Sel? I am not a cancer expert, nor are you, nor is any player in the NFL. But you want to know what occurred from 2009 to 2016 was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it was not political, but we were shining a light on a cancer, on a subject matter that was costing people lives. 2017, it goes from Breast Cancer Awareness Month to All Cancer Awareness Month. Honestly, it's trying to catch them all, if you will. And so that wasn't political, nor was it divisive. So I'm just a little bit curious when everybody's saying, I don't want my politics in sports, as to since when is equality or fighting for life or fighting for the justice of life. Since when has that now become political? But furthermore so, because you are correct, athletes are not political science majors. Athletes are not experts in justice and rights and movements and the best way to achieve all these things. But I sure as heck was not an expert in annihilating cancer. But I was out there with my pink gloves, my pink towel. I was out there in the pink embroidered jersey. The field was still littered in pink, and we were all talking about how it's affecting us. Running back for the Carolina Panthers, most notably also the Steelers, D'Angelo Williams, I believe he lost his mom to cancer, I think breast cancer, and he had a microphone about how it was affecting him. Mm-hmm. So if athletes have been respected and tasked and charged to speak on matters like breast cancer because it has affected them, although they do not have their medical degrees, although they do not have their science degrees, although they do not have these types of degrees. But if we can respect and admire their courage in speaking on those matters, why can we not respect and admire their courage on speaking on other matters that are taking life as well?
Yeah, I think it's really a conversation. I like that point about awareness, using platform to bring awareness, breast cancer awareness, as you were talking about. I lost my mother in 2005 to breast cancer, so I get it. Versus the depth of involvement that the athletes are now asked or wanting and desiring because they have that platform of awareness. So that's the tipping point. And I think that's what Brett Favre is saying. Where are we going to recalibrate this? Because there was a time where athletes speak on it, because no one's going to listen to PhD guy who's on the college radio station. Speak on it. And then athletes started to speak on it to a point where all of a sudden they got involved. Mm-hmm. But then when they got involved, people were like, okay, but to what depth are you involved? Because now some things are being said out of turn. Let's be real. There's a lack of qualified minds really speaking on these issues.
Correct.
If you look at the issues, and then you look at the platforms, and then you look at those who are qualified have the smallest of platforms. So it's just this simple, man. I've been there, you've been there, we understand what it is. Most people in this world are not qualified to be pro athletes. And most pro athletes in this world are not qualified to speak on these issues. It's just that simple. Now, you can say bring awareness all you want, and I get that. But when you want to go to that extent where it's like, yo, you may be misleading, you may be misguided, or you just don't have proper perspective. Because I was in my 20s and I look back at old articles and old statements. Some were positive, some were incomplete in terms of not only attention, but actually where I was actually trying to go.
Let's go here.
Oh, we ain't there yet?
Nah, we ain't there yet. We almost there, but we're not there yet. Just because you're not most qualified, though, does not mean you're not qualified.
Well, I think it does.
No, just because
when you're surrounded by those who are,
meaning
it
this.
is.
So you and I are not the most astute when it comes to breaking down the X's and O's of every single coverage.
Speak for yourself.
Every single thing.
Speak for yourself.
You and I are not the most astute when it comes to all that.
You don't think?
We might know. I know because I be on Twitter and it's dudes that I'm like, yo, I hadn't even really thought about that route concept in the last 8 years because I haven't had to see it. I hadn't thought about that offensive lineman blocking scheme. I haven't thought about this formation and how it moves to that formation. I haven't had to think about that. So you on Twitter with 1,200 followers taught me something with 300,000 followers.
That's facts.
Maybe taught you something with 400,000 followers.
All the time. Wisdom of the crowd is
facts.
called. Wisdom of the crowd.
I'm not the most qualified, but that doesn't mean I'm not qualified. Let's talk a sport you and I both love. The Olympic Games. It's much harder to qualify for the Olympic Games at the USA as opposed to qualifying for the Olympic Games in a much smaller country. I see people qualifying for the USA in an open 400 meters in other countries running 60 seconds. And in America, it'd take you a 45 or 44 second to qualify.
I saw that race.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So just because you're not most qualified doesn't mean you're not qualified. I don't know. Obviously, athletes are not the most qualified to speak on matters that we might try to deem as political.
Come on, man.
But just because they're not the most qualified does not to me mean that they are not qualified, and for certain does not to me mean that they are disqualified.
Well, it's a taste conversation for Brett Favre, and I'm trying to play a little devil's advocate to speak for Brett Favre, at least my assumptions of what he's thinking. And you can't tell me how to taste something, okay? Ketchup on tacos. I don't want to hear salsa. You may say that. Brett Favre's like, my sports kind of, can we bring it back in a little bit and just talk about the X's X's and O's more than the I's and U's of sport. And I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I do understand where he's coming from. Athletes, you are exceptions on the court. You are exceptions on the field. When it comes to acumen and speaking on this, there are exceptions that are not getting the proper microphones put in front of them. It's just facts. I got example after example. Of course, there are exceptions, but if you're going to be an exception, be exceptional. And that's what's lacking in this situation. I'll bring you one real quick. I remember when I'm talking to Dr. Eric Dyson, Michael Eric Dyson, and I remember also Dr. Harry Edwards. Doctor. And then they were talking about Colin Kaepernick's situation, how one reached out and didn't get the proper response. And then another one used to have the relationship and mentorship, Dr. Harry Edwards, and that became a little estranged. Kaepernick was an igniter, in his words, more so than a leader. Now, it's interesting, but who has the platform? Who talks more on it? Those guys, but who has the greatest voice? Who has the greatest influence? Who has most of the momentum, most of the minds? It's the guy in that conversation who's actually least qualified. So when I look at it, man, the smartest of athletes, the most exceptional, the one with the greatest acumen and the greatest intentions of heart is dumb as hell compared to who he's going to be 20 years from now. And if you really want to keep it raw, is not even as qualified as those who are present right next to him, but won't get the microphones put in their face. Go ahead.
There's still too much meat on his ribs.
Hey.
There's still too much.
And they call me smart, and I know I'm dumb.
But here's the kicker, though.
But I knew.
Just because 30-year-old Emmanuel Acho is smarter than 22-year-old Emmanuel Acho does not mean 22-year-old Emmanuel Acho should remain mute until he becomes 30 years old.
No one's saying mute. We're saying balance.
Balance.
We're saying calibration.
If somebody gives you a mic and you are educated enough to give a response, then you should give that response. You may be more educated on a response years down the line, but if somebody gives you a mic and you're educated on a response, respond. Now, you might not be the most maximally educated, but you're still educated. I don't think everybody that has an issue with politics and sports, you don't have an issue with politics and sports. Because you didn't have an issue when we talked about breast cancer awareness. You didn't have an issue when American flags fly before a stadium. You don't have an issue when a president shows up at the stadium, we stand up and give him a round of applause. You don't have an issue when fighter jets fly over the stadium before a Super Bowl or before a big event. So, we didn't have issues when politics were in sports. We had an issue when people were pushing against their political flavors in sports. So you said it's about taste. But my thing is, you can't be mad at a restaurant if they serve something you don't necessarily like, because they were serving something you like too.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you can't be mad at that restaurant if you go to this restaurant and they serving steak, but you want fish. They were serving fish too now.
Yeah, but see, this is why I always push against identity politics, especially in sports. It's because now all of a sudden, those are collectives you were talking about before when you said no one had an issue. And in those situations, we're all pulling in the same direction. But now, Acho, I don't know your deepest sensibilities, but if I present to you while you're going to a game with your kids, something that you don't necessarily support, and whatever that identity politic is, it's going to have an effect on you in terms of consuming that product and your taste. Now, I'm not saying that you walk away from the game, say, son, let's go. I'm not saying that you're going to be dog cursing the athletes, but it is going to land somewhere with you and say, look, all I wanted to see is the ball in the air. But it's a little more than that now. And it's a separation that comes from identity politics. There's going to be a pro and there's going to be a con. That's not the same with all collective things that were patriotism, things that were happening for the country, things that affect us all like cancer, which is a top 3 cause of death for every single group in this country. Point being, it's now starting to alienate more and more people. Not just by us, not just brothers, not just black people, not just white people, but everyone is starting to feel this, that something on that menu ain't for them to eat. Coming up, Trevor Lawrence is the consensus #1 pick, but he still has critics. We'll tell you if we like how he's handling it. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. We're about to have Brett Favre on this show.
You stood out as one of the most gifted young athletes America has ever seen and starred on the college stage. When duty called, you stepped up while speaking out. Then you got that long-awaited call, and you answered gloriously and gracefully. And when your playing days were over, you became a champion in a different league, paving the way, again, leading by example. Though your fight sometimes seems far from over, your legacy continues to inspire generations of dreamers and leaders. Thank you, Jackie.
Jackie Robinson is celebrated today for breaking baseball's color barrier back in 1947 with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Fox Sports is honoring his legacy with donations of brand new baseball and softball gear to help underserved youth in New York and right here in L.A. So, Acho, what are your thoughts on the legacy of Jackie Robinson?
Estelle, what's always most inspiring to me is the one who first breaks the barrier.
Say it.
Because you never know what the domino effect would be or how long it would have taken if the barrier is not broken. So when I think about Jackie Robinson breaking the barrier and the ripple effect it's had on the integration of basketball and how baseball looks different altogether, it's always most inspiring when you think about the first one to break the barrier.
Yeah, I echo that. Not only that, it's the responsibility of being a pioneer. One, you're first. You're the windshield. You take all the hits. But more importantly, you have to be great enough that that door stays open and widens for others to come through. And Jackie Robinson obviously did that. Let's get back to the NFL, where Trevor Lawrence is expected to have his name called #1 overall in the draft by the Jaguars. But he still has high expectations and critics coming his way. Lawrence told Sports Illustrated recently how he's handling all of it. He said, quote, "I don't have this huge chip on my shoulder that everyone's out to get me and I'm trying to prove everybody wrong. I just don't have that. I can't manufacture that. I don't want to. I think that's unhealthy to a certain extent. Just always thinking that you got to prove somebody wrong. You got to do more. You got to be better." So, Acho, do you agree with Trevor Lawrence that trying to prove people wrong is unhealthy?
Not at all, Sal. Now,
you don't?
Here's what I'll say. It might be unhealthy for him. Right, like Trevor Lawrence,
respect.
I'm not going to sit here and act like you fall under the umbrella of most athletes, or you fall under the umbrella of most people, or you fall under the umbrella of anyone besides yourself. You just got married, I think, last week? I don't know how cats be having weddings before they ever make money. Big dog, like, wedding was lavish. My dog, you look good, Trevor Lawrence, you look good. But Trevor Lawrence, he just properly understands where he is.
Yeah.
He's not trying to prove people wrong. He's trying to prove people right. You've been the #1 recruit coming out of high school. Now you're the greatest quarterback recruit in the last 30 years. So nobody's ever slept on you, Trevor Lawrence. You have no one to prove wrong. You just have to prove people right. But on the flip side, Sel, our greatest athletes have really had that motivation of trying to prove someone wrong, having some internal chip on their shoulder. Remember Michael Jordan. People argue he's the greatest basketball player of all time, or inarguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Jordan did a whole bunch to try to prove people wrong. LaBradford Smith drops buckets on him, allegedly says, "Nice game, Mike." Next night of a back-to-back night, Jordan drops 37 in the first half after LaBradford had dropped 36 on the whole game the day before, if I'm not mistaken on how that story goes. So even Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, would create narratives and stories in his mind to try to prove people wrong. You need a motivation in life, my people. If you don't have one, find one. If the motivation is money, let it be money. If it's fame, let it be fame. If it's status, let it be status. If it's trying to prove people wrong, let it be trying to prove people wrong. I don't think it's unhealthy at all.
I love what Trevor Lawrence said. And I think it is unhealthy when guys want to put a chip on their shoulder, come from a negative mindset and convert it to a positive mindset versus starting in a positive mindset of appreciation that the fact you already have made it and taking that and growing from that place. Think about it. Is it easier to go from a bad mood to a good mood or a good mood to a great mood? I would think good mood to great mood because you're already in the positive sphere. Here's the funny thing about it all. Because I really think it's contrived. I really think it's false. You brought up Michael Jordan. Contrived.
All day.
Yeah, he lied. He lied. He would lie to himself. He lied to us watching the damn documentary. And then he was like, "I lied." But it's still a lie, even though he laughing at it, tongue-in-cheek, lying. So here's the thing. Michael Jordan had his own demons he was dealing with. I'm not trying to go through that course to put the ball in the hole. You know, whatever sport it is, whatever game I'm playing, if I got to go through all of that just to get it done, then I don't think that's the healthiest of mindset. And that's what Trevor Lawrence is talking about. Think about this, big dog. This is a world where we already know the rich get richer, right? Success begets success, right? So whatever you start with snowballs. Why would you want to start with a negative? And then hopefully it doesn't snowball. Obviously you don't want it to, and it probably doesn't. But then you got to convert that into a positive. The shortest distance between 2 points is what? A straight line, big dog. How about you stay, one, in the same positivity that you want to end up in, and two, shorten that distance. But I give it to you like this in story form.
Please.
Mojo. Maurice Jones-Drew, my dog, he clowned me a few times. That was my teammate. Love that dude. He came in and he was like, wearing number 32. You know, I was like, why are you wearing number 32? He's like, because 32 teams passed up on me, homie. I said, no, actually, no, they didn't, because one team looped back around and got you. You should be wearing 31. But, you know, he thought, I'm wearing 32 because 32 passed up on me. I was like, you sure it ain't because of OJ? You sure it ain't because of Marcus Allen and stuff like that? No, it ain't that. It's because 32 teams passed up on me. I got a chip on my shoulder. And I start thinking to myself, man, what the hell are these football players out here thinking? You know there are over 1.1 million high school football players? 1.1 million. And they only draft, what, 224 every year? That is putting you in a club of 0.0001%. And then your butt gonna sit there in that moment, and instead of having a tremendous appreciation for that moment, you're gonna try to sell something to the fans that you know is gonna land, which is, man, I went number 8 instead of number 2. And I know how contrived that lands. I know how contrived that sounds. And I think it's starting from a negative mindset based on how they're going to take it rather than how you really feel.
I don't disagree with your logic. Don't disagree with your thought process. But let me push back. Sales, sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward. Really? If I was trying to snap a rubber band and get the most shot forward, I'd have to pull the rubber band back. Let's talk track and field.
Yeah.
Why you start in blocks? Because you've applied pressure from your feet backwards into the block to propel yourself forward. Sometimes you need some of that emotional energy that's negative so that you can spring yourself forward to a positive. I know it's worked out in my life experience.
Let's go there.
The only reason, y'all, I'm sitting in this chair right now, the only reason is because once upon a time across the sea, I was at another place, another network. And I'm sitting there with that executive, and I asked, hey, can I get a promotion? And they said this, and I quote, your name is not big enough. Just that was it.
I know who said it too. I was over there before.
That's where the conversation stopped.
Wow.
Your name is not big enough. I said, thank you. I walked out the office. I called my agent. And I said, hey, we got to go. Within the last year, you want to know whose name is now vastly bigger than anybody on the show I was trying to get promoted to? Your boy.
It's your boy.
And every day, I think about your name is not big enough. So what is my motivation to have to continue to create a bigger name for myself? If that was my limiting reactant, it's remembering those words, those proving people wrong that my name was not big enough. I'm not continuing to climb with the same exponential growth, I would assume, or at least I'd have to find it elsewhere. Because you got to get a motivation from somewhere. So I'm not going to say I wouldn't continue to climb, but I'd have to find a motivation elsewhere. So, Sal, if it may be unhealthy in the moment, but it leads to long-term gains.
I don't know, man. All you told me is that you responded to adversity. And every athlete has to do that.
No question.
But I don't want to create a persona. I don't want to create an impression in my mind that things are bad, a negative mindset, a chip on my shoulder, pandering to my fans in order to respond and spring forward. Because it's just a lack of appreciation and perspective. It's a damn lie on top of that. I give it to you like this, because no executive ever told me that, because no one ever expected me to have a big name. I'm Marcellus Wiley, but I could talk that talk. So that was my name, my talk, not necessarily my game. Here it is as a parent. This is how I learned it. If a kid falls, they teach you not to react to that fall because you want to see purely, are they really in pain or are they just reacting to you? Now, so my kids all the time, they falling. Little MJ, little Riley, bow, bow. And I remind myself, don't say anything. Because if they fall, I got to see how much pain they're really in. And you notice every time they fall, them eyes go straight to you. Daddy, gauge this for me. Daddy got the blank stare. You tell me. Now, I relate this to athletes. I've seen too many damn athletes fall in the draft. And then the fans, the parents, it seems like in this situation, go, no, Maurice Jones, you didn't. No, Aaron Rodgers, no. And you know what the athlete starts to do with his eyes when they look at the fans? He go like this. Yeah! And start with this chip on your shoulder. Boy, you 0.0001% of all that have made it. Shut your mouth and go out there and play ball. Coming up, Browns fans were wishing Baker Mayfield happy birthday yesterday. But we'll tell you if he's exceeded expectations on the field. And that's next on Speak for Yourself. Let's head to Cleveland. Baker Mayfield turned 26 yesterday. Happy birthday, Baker. The Browns quarterback had a lot to celebrate last season with his first playoff win. Former overall #1 pick is also the first Browns quarterback with a winning record through his first 45 starts since Bernie Kosar. Browns are expected to pick up Mayfield's fifth-year option this offseason. So, Acho, has Baker exceeded expectations?
By far, so Baker Mayfield has smashed expectations, both as a #1 pick and really primarily as a #1 pick in Cleveland. Expectations can only be set based upon what has come before you.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence's expectations as this #1 pick are set because what Andrew Luck did, the generational talent before Trevor Lawrence, or John Elway did, the last quarterback we've seen that's as talented coming out of college as Trevor Lawrence. They set the expectation. Andrew Luck, 4 Pro Bowls in his 9 years of playing. John Elway, a couple Super Bowls. They have set the expectation.
With you.
So what are the expectations of a first-round pick at quarterback that goes to the Cleveland Browns, particularly in the 2000s and since these last 20 years? I will tell you all, America, the range is very simple. Anywhere from Johnny Manziel, who was 2-6 as a starter, to Tim Couch, who was 22-37 as a starter. That is the range of quarterbacks for the Cleveland Browns that were first-round picks since 1999 to present day. 2-6 to 22-37. You got Brandon Weedens and you got Brady Quinn's in between. But that's the range, the worst of Manziel to the best of Tim Couch. Baker Mayfield has more wins in 3 seasons than Tim Couch, the high ceiling of the range, had in 5. Baker Mayfield, 23-22. Tim Couch, also a #1 overall pick at the quarterback position in Cleveland, 22-37. So Baker Mayfield has already smashed the high ceiling of what the expectation must be.
Interesting.
If John Elway and Andrew Luck made 1 Pro Bowl after being such highly touted, then the expectation of being the most highly touted quarterback to come out of college would be that 1 Pro Bowl. They have set the bar for expectations. So if Trevor Lawrence goes out and makes 2 Pro Bowls, he would have defeated the expectation. So the expectation for a Browns first-round pick at quarterback, at best, has been 22-37. Baker Mayfield is 23-22 in 3 years. He has trumped all expectations.
No, he has not.
But you like my take?
I did like your take because you made something out of nothing, but it ended up being nothing. But look, I know how they're going to spin this. For Cleveland, they're going to say yes. And you just did that, but not for where he was drafted as the #1 overall pick. No, he has not exceeded expectations. Once again, you went back to your well, the king of omission right there. I love me some Acho. Because Acho will look at the calendar and rip off pages, say, who needs that month? Oh, who needs that year? I love how you want to stop. Before, when I grew up watching these Cleveland Browns, and there were some high expectations. Do you remember, rest in peace, Marty Schottenheimer? Do you remember those days? Yes, those 3 straight winning seasons, 12-4. Have these Cleveland Browns went 12-4? 10-5, 10-6, out there battling with Denver. We all know what happens in some of those battles. Expectations, you can't start and when you want to because it supports your narrative. You have to base them on what this franchise expects. And then more importantly, what does the league expect when you're #1 overall? Baker Mayfield is 23-22 in terms of win-loss record. Acho, that is as close as you can get above treading water. As close as you can get over 500. You know what that is? Let's go to school. 23-22 is like having a 2.1 GPA. But Acho, the daddy, is sitting there saying, we going to Chuck E. Cheese. My baby got a C. He got a C. And he was the first pick. What school they do that at? Where the valedictorian head of class has a 2.1 GPA. Boy, if you don't stop and lose that ghetto mentality you have of these low-ass expectations.
Don't Do this on national television.
I'm gonna do it on worldwide TV.
Put context in it.
I ain't gonna put no context in it.
First round pick last year, Joe Burrow, what'd he do?
Got hurt.
2-7-1 as a starter.
Hurt.
First round pick the year before, Kyler Murray. What'd he do? He's 13-18-1 as a starter. First round pick the year before Baker Mayfield. What'd he do? He 23-22 as a starter. The only one in the last 3 years with a winning record as a starter.
So that means they all have.
Why? Because if you have the number 1 overall pick, you're probably going to a porous franchise.
Yes.
In the last 40 years, 22 quarterbacks have been selected number 1. 4 have winning playoff records. 2 of them have the last name of Manning. So if your last name ain't Manning, then 2 quarterbacks of the last 20 quarterbacks in the last 40 years that have been selected number 1 have winning playoff records. Baker Mayfield has already exceeded the expectations there by going to the playoffs, winning himself one, before losing himself one. So he's still at least at 500 when all them other cats got losing records.
Hold on.
Sal,
what the hell are you doing
let's
up here?
Let's keep counting records before then.
Let's go.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Does he have a winning record as a starter?
All underachievers.
He's a number 1.
All underachievers.
No, because
no.
Achievement has to be based upon that which came before you. So if nobody had gone to the moon yet, if we ain't been to the moon
Have
yet,
they?
how you going to...
We doing that? What show are you on?
Assuming
what?
somebody been to the moon, right?
I heard.
Then you can't say, wait a second, you underachieving if you ain't been to the moon yet. Because the expectation I'm telling you is, what have you already achieved? What have you already accomplished? If number 1 overall picks haven't accomplished a ton, and Baker Mayfield has accomplished more than number 1 overall picks, then Baker Mayfield has exceeded expectations.
Whoa, you done put Baker Mayfield in this team burrito and said he's all of it. Nuh-uh. He ain't all of it. He may be the shell. He may be that flour tortilla, but he ain't all of it, big dog. You act like this offense, this team runs through Baker Mayfield. Stop it. No, it does not. And you act like team success is all on Baker Mayfield. Boy, stop that. It's not about
team failure is, then team success.
Yes, and they don't have a ton of success. Did they win a division? One game over 500. One game over 500. Let me do this, because you're suffering like Cleveland Brown fans are suffering from battered fan syndrome. That means you just don't know which way is up anymore. Let me personalize this story before I get it back into my notes and my nuggets. Growing up, I saw a lot of adversity. Drugs, gangs, poverty were the top 3 to most people. And then they would ask me what was the worst to me. I said, y'all ain't even listed yet. And they'll say, what is it, Marcellus? I said, low ambition. I saw people aiming too low. I don't give a damn what the circumstances are. I said, we could be greater than these circumstances. I saw people out there that just weren't aiming high enough. It looks like you are in that mindset as well. You don't have the highest of mindset and expectations. You always profess to me Super Bowl or bust. Even though I disagree with it, all of a sudden you losing some of that energy right now, Super Bowl or bust, and you have the selection of every single eligible collegiate player, and you pick one that gets you a 2.1 GPA?
No,
I'm not done. You ain't going, hell no. Let me go here. Tell me this. Is this number 1 overall worthy? 33rd in completion percentage since you got drafted. 27th in passer rating. You want to keep going? How about passing yards per game? 21st. You ever gonna crack top 20 and something, but you were the number 1 overall pick? You cannot wrap this around.
About to hurt your feelings.
Success, which is only 1 game over 500.
Sal, what was the fastest you ever ran at 400 meter? 1 lap around the track, America. What's the fastest you ever ran?
Man, I was 11 or 12. I think 58 something. I don't even know exact. 58 2.
That's fine. It's irrelevant. The fact that
I won nationals.
If you would have run a 57, you would have been ecstatic. If you would have run a 57.
Yeah, I know who did, though. I know somebody who did.
But
what?
To somebody, somewhere, a 57 is hella slow. But for Sal, if he would have run a 57, knowing what his PR personal record or PB personal best is, a 57, you would have been ecstatic. Because you would have been better than anything you had ever done. At least in recent history, if not ever.
I love that recent history. Recent. Why you gotta say
Baker
recent?
Mayfield and these Browns.
What? I'm listening.
The best they have done since 1994.
What about before that?
Since 1994.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield has trumped. So don't compare Baker Mayfield's Browns to Tom Brady and his Patriots. Because I'm not going to compare Marcellus Wiley to Michael Johnson. That's what I'm not going to do. If Michael Johnson ran a 400-meter time that Marcellus Wiley would have been ecstatic about, Michael Johnson would be in tears. Michael Johnson, one of the greatest 400-meter runners of all time. He would be in tears. So, expectations. Prior accomplishment dictate expectations. And the Browns have accomplished much less than what they've accomplished now with Baker Mayfield.
You know what? I think you just are a victim of relative expectations, and I'm a victim of absolute expectations.
Well, we both got to be victims.
Because guess what? We're both losing this one right now. I'm going to say it like this. When your completion percentage is worse than Case Keenum, when your passing yards per attempt is worse than Nick Mullins, and when you have the worst passer rating than Gardner Minshew, I don't want to hear how you exceeding anything, any expectation. It's just as simple, big dog. Michael Johnson, yeah, he can jog faster than I ever could run. But there is an absolute standard out there. And please don't take me to Chuck E. Cheese just because of a PR if I still don't qualify by the absolute expectation. Coming up, CeeDee Lamb thinks the Cowboys skilled players can compete with anybody. We'll tell you if we have an issue with that. Next, don't speak for yourself. Go Baker, valedictorian.
Let's head to Dallas. The Cowboys, they expected to have Dak Prescott back in a huddle, so expectations are high. Star receiver in the making, CeeDee Lamb. He ain't shy away from boasting about his squad, saying, quote, offensively at the skill position, I feel we can compete with anybody. We're one of the best in the NFL. Now we got to bring in our own star wide receiver. That's NFL analyst Greg Jennings. So, Greg, you take this one first. You got an issue with CeeDee Lamb's comments.
Of course not. Come on, man. You got to feel yourself when you at that position. And he does, and he has every right to. And he is absolutely right. At the skill position, this team is stacked. You think about the quiet assassin and Amari Cooper, what he's able to bring to the table when healthy. And then a young Michael Gallup who's emerging as a second guy that you can have an option for. And then CeeDee Lamb, we know what he's capable of doing, and he's obviously blossoming into a young star in this league. And then you add Dak Prescott back at quarterback, back at the helm, throwing to all these options with Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. Yes, their skill position is stacked, which is why we always start to consider them as one of the better teams in the NFC East, and always wondering why they are falling short, because their personnel on paper suggests that they should be a lot better. However, it takes a lot of chemistry. It takes a lot of rapport, and you have to know how to win. And that's something the Dallas Cowboys haven't done. But what CeeDee Lamb is saying is absolutely correct. I played on a team where we had extreme amounts of depth at the receiver position, and we pushed one another. We made each other better. We all felt like we were number one guys, and that's what they feel like down in Dallas. And then you add a Dak Prescott who was injured last year, he didn't even get the chance to play a full season with. So we haven't seen the best of CeeDee Lamb yet.
Gee, wow. A fool learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. CD, Greg Jennings, y'all ain't learned from Zeke's mistake just last year? What Zeke say last year? Probably the most talented team I've been on. Just look at the depth chart. Look at the roster. Look at how many Pro Bowlers, all pro guys we have out there, close quote. What happened last year, Greg Jennings? What happened last year, CeeDee Lamb? All that talent, that roster, they all pro guys, all that depth, all them losses. Okay? So I ain't really got a problem with CeeDee being confident because he is that dude and he's about to be a guy. Almost won 4,000 yards as a rookie with Andy Dalton starting the majority of the time. But my thing is, like, why you talking? Y'all think I clown Dak Prescott on this show a lot, but the one thing Dak Prescott does best is stay silent and let his game do the talking. Like, Dak is actually the star. $160 million man, makes more in one game this year than CeeDee will make over the course of the entire year, more than likely. And you'll hear Dak out here lauding about all the talent because they let their game speak. But CeeDee, you just saw what Zeke said last year and how it backfired. I got a problem with the comments because why didn't you learn from Zeke's mistakes?
Man, stop it. Man, I love this little
Thank
dude
you.
out there saying this. And look, he can say what the hell he wants, as long as he go out there and back it up. And here's the thing. So since somebody is wrong, you can't come back after that and then prove that you are right? Like, that's crazy. Like, they're not a deterrent to you being right. They just were wrong. I give you that. Acho, look. Every debate, you come in here thinking you're going to win, right? Because you got talent. And every debate, you don't. But still, you still believe in yourself. Now you go over here and suppress CeeDee Lamb for believing in himself. Boy, you a hypocrite. CeeDee Lamb over there listening to something that you ain't supposed to be listening to right now. I don't know why y'all trying to cancel it. I believe I can fly. Well, I do know why y'all trying to cancel it. But I still listen to that song. Oh, you can't say that? Okay, let me go. How about some Bone Crusher? Never scared. That's what CeeDee Lamb is on. He's like, I ain't never scared of these guys. I look around the NFL. And I look around our locker room. It's always a talent-driven conversation, to Greg's point. That talent drives the expectations to the top. And then all of a sudden, either you live up to them or you're a disappointment. Why are we always disappointed in the Cowboys? Because we have expectations. Why we have expectations? Because they have so much talent. And this year, they're going to have their conductor. Hopefully, Dak stays healthy for the entire season. You got something. Don't be deterred because somebody was wrong before, because this time you could be right.
Here the problem, Sam.
Ain't no problem. Ain't no
You got a
problem.
5-year-old son, MJ.
MJ.
Say MJ get into a scuffle at his, pre-K school. He get into a little scuffle.
Sure.
And he get into the scuffle with the kid, and he says, hey, when my dad get here, he gonna take care of you. Yeah, you.
Me? You know I
Yeah.
ain't fighting, even the 5-year-old.
Exactly. Now MJ is writing checks that Marcellus Wiley got to cash.
Bankrupt, yeah.
And now when you show up, you're going to be like, wait, MJ, what you say? What you say now? Like,
And
what
who's
you
his
say?
daddy?
Exactly. CeeDee Lamb out here writing checks that Dak has to cash, that Zeke has to cash, that DeMarcus Lawrence has to cash, that Jalen Smith has to cash, that Mike McCarthy has to cash, that Dan Quinn has to cash. It'd be one thing if MJ was going to handle the little 5-year-old he's scuffling with himself.
Sure.
But MJ said, hey, when my daddy get here. And CeeDee Lamb's comments are saying, hey, when everybody else shows up, we really have enough talent to be that great. But the problem is, CeeDee, you can only control you. Zeke, last year, talking about all the talent on the team, all the other Pro Bowlers, just look at the depth chart. You speaking for a whole bunch of other people that you ain't got the authority to speak for. CeeDee Lamb can speak for himself because he a baller. But when you start speaking on behalf of other people and you don't know the work they putting in, that's when you can make a mistake.
Acho, what are you talking about? What check is he trying to cash? He is just simply saying that we got a lot of talent, period.
What that
He
means,
didn't say
G?
they were
What
winning
that
the
mean?
Super Bowl. He didn't say
What that
any of
mean?
that. Even with Ezekiel last season, Elliott, he said that this is the most talented team that I've been around. He was not lying. That was his reality. That was his fact. We knew that to be true. But they still have to put together wins, which I know they all understand that. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Mike McCarthy, none of them are looking at CeeDee Lamb like, man, what are you talking about? Why are you going out there saying that? No, they're all looking like, yeah, he's right. He's absolutely right. And he's been right. Ezekiel Elliott's been right. And so many of us have been right when we're talking about the Cowboys and their personnel in the depth that they've always had. It's just a matter of getting it done. That's something that they haven't done. He's not guaranteeing anything. He's just saying what we all know to be fact.
Greg Jennings, let's not be lazy, though, G.
Oh.
If he's saying we got so much talent, what are the implications? It's a leading statement. G, if you about to go out with your old lady, you about to go out with whoever, and
Why
you're
should I
like,
be old?
hey, y'all both dressed up, and you say this, hey, you know it's cold outside. Yes, you're making a statement that it's cold outside, but you're notifying the significant other it's cold outside for a reason. Hey, you might want to get a jacket. Now, you could obviously say, hey, you might want to get a jacket, but instead you're choosing to simply notify your significant other it's cold outside. CeeDee Lamb is notifying us we're talented for a reason. Yes, it is a fact. Like saying it is cold outside is a fact. But why does that fact have relevance? Because he's putting people on alert to a degree that, yes, we're one of the most talented rosters and we can compete with anybody. So, G, I'm just trying to read between the lines like they taught us to do in school. You just reading a book, but what the book mean, G?
Oh, man, don't do that, G. I got your back. I'm going to talk about your former coach, Mike McCarthy. Because if Mike McCarthy is Mike McCarthy, then that's 5 more wins already. Year 1 in Green Bay versus year 2 in Green Bay. 5-win improvement. Just if Mike McCarthy is Mike McCarthy. But no, G, stay still.
Commercial
Nino in the middle. G, stay still. We're going to do an exorcism on Acho. Because Acho's scared as hell. We're going to perform this exorcism right now. Acho in his own head. One of my favorite Wiley-isms ever is Mark Twain's. Life is a competition between you and yourself.
It can't be a Wiley-ism if Mark Twain said it.
You don't know what a Wiley-ism is, and I steal everything. So here's the thing. Your ass is in your own head, and I give you this perfect example because it's really simple. But Acho likes to overthink it.
This is ridiculous.
Acho. What? The ugly dude in the club still get the finest one. You want to know why?
Because he breaded.
Because he... Go to break. You ain't never lied. But he ain't scared like you, Acho. Your ass going to be going home dolo. Coming up, Josh Allen came close to winning MVP last season. Ooh. I tell you, if we think he ain't lying, he could take a step back this season. Next, he got 8 Ferraris. You're like, okay.
After Roman Reigns' destructive victory at WrestleMania, who can possibly challenge the head of the table for SmackDown supremacy? It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern, tomorrow night on Fox.
Josh Allen took the Bills to the AFC Championship game last season and finished second behind Aaron Rodgers in MVP voting. Next up, Allen is entering his 4th season, and our own Peter Schrager thinks he'll be more than just an MVP candidate, saying, quote, I think he's an MVP favorite for this season. I think that's the next step. Greg is back, but Acho, you have any concerns Josh Allen will take a step back next season?
Huge concerns, and he will take a step back next season, but it's not going to matter because of how great he was this season. Let's make no mistake about it. Josh Allen was MVP talented this season. In just about every statistical metric, he outpaced Lamar Jackson's unanimous MVP season. Total yards, total touchdowns. He outpaced Lamar's unanimous MVP season. So, Josh Allen, you really can't go further up from just how great you were this past year. And so, even if he does take a step back, it's not going to be like it's some monumental deal. Lamar Jackson took a step back this past year. Still passed for 26 touchdowns, still had over 3,800 total yards. Lamar Jackson still balled. He just took a step back compared to how great he was. Now, because Josh Allen played at an MVP level this season, let's look at MVPs since 2014 and what they did the following seasons. Y'all look at the list, and y'all tell me what Josh Allen gonna do this year.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, 40 touchdowns to 32. Cam Newton, 45 touchdowns to 24. Matt Ryan, 38 touchdowns to 20. Tom Brady, 32 touchdowns, only a slight dip. That's the GOAT, Tom Brady, 31. Pat Mahomes, 52 to 28. And Lamar Jackson, 43 to 33. So history shows when you have a historically great season, when you have a season that's almost a career anomaly, if you will, because an MVP caliber season is an anomaly compared to how great you typically are, then you always take a step back. It don't mean you're not great. It just means you take a small step back.
Yeah, I don't completely disagree with you. I don't think that he'll take a step back. I think that his awareness will definitely be there, but so will the other opponents that he's going to play. His division has gotten better. The Dolphins are improved. The New England Patriots are improved. The Jets are the Jets. But when you look at what Josh Allen was able to do, it came to surprise a lot of his opponents. It didn't surprise so much anyone in that organization, but it surprised a lot of his opponents. That's not going to be the case. Every name you put on that list, including Lamar Jackson, even Aaron Rodgers, not saying that they surprised their opponents, but there was a level of expectation. It's like, okay, if we're able to stop this particular player, if we're able to minimize what they can do, then we have a chance to win. That's what's going to happen when you look at the Buffalo Bills next year. It's not so much that Josh Allen's going to take a step back. I think the opponents that they play will have a scheme that won't allow him to just be what we saw last year. But when you come in, and there were so many other variables, you come in and you have a receiver who's never been a number one guy, but who has all the potential to be, and he definitely was that, and he leads the league in reception, he leads the league in passing yards, like, you're going to be a better quarterback. Now the league has been put on alert of who the Buffalo Bills are, who Josh Allen is, who Stephon Diggs is, and it just won't be that easy of a road and a path to accomplish all of what they did last season.
Man, here we go again. I knew Acho was scared from the last take, but I didn't know Greg was so scared as well. Oh, y'all better stop. No, he will not take a step back. No concern right now. If it happens, it happens. It'll just be a natural step back, but it won't be because of regression. It'll just be like, he gonna sit in the fourth quarter, kind of how Lamar Jackson did in 2019 when he won that MVP. You know, the fourth quarters he was chilling. And y'all want to keep exaggerating this because y'all both suffer from a fear of success. How is a guy going to take a step back, or worse, you guys are going to project he's going to take a step back when you have no signs of him being in the NFL ever taking a step back? Year 1 to year 2, better record, better touchdown and interception ratio. Year 2 to year 3, same thing, better record, more touchdowns, fewer interceptions. What the hell are y'all talking about? Like, if y'all had one indicator that said, uh-oh, look out for the roller coaster ride, I would listen to y'all, but you don't. So if it happens, it happens. If he dies, he dies. But nothing's going to happen. Let me give you my green screen behind me. It ain't green. And let me give you my weatherman forecast for Josh Allen, this MVP performer. Sunny skies in Buffalo right now. Chance of rain. We're going to see a little thunder in New York and Miami. Lightning striking the AFC. High of 45 TDs and a low of 10 INTs. Acho, Greg, y'all some scared little dudes right now. Josh Allen gonna make you eat that crow because so far it's been all the way up in terms of his career.
Really, Sale, you can have occupational growth and statistical regression.
That sounded cute.
What G and I are saying is there will likely be statistical regression. It's going to be very hard for Josh Allen to top 37 passing touchdowns. Going to be very hard for Josh Allen to top 4,500 passing yards. Going to be very hard for Josh Allen to top 4,900 total yards. He might grow as a player, but statistically, he might regress. Can I talk to G? Because, G, you look like a gambling man. G.
Scared, man.
You be playing blackjack? What you be playing?
No, I'm not a gambler, man. I
gamble?
work hard for my money. I keep it in my pocket.
Say it. I'm with you, G.
I
Put
work
me on
hard
screen.
for mine, and I work harder to lose it. So, look, I'm a gambling man. And here's the thing, y'all. You can be at the blackjack table and everything goes right. Everything goes right. Even when you make wrong decisions, it still goes right. But then you can play the next time around, make right decisions, and it still go wrong. Josh Allen, Sal, he could become a better player, but statistically, things can still go wrong. Those receivers that were catching passes, it can go between their hands and turn into picks. So I'm not saying Josh Allen won't be better, but more than likely, when you see a statistical anomaly, which was his last season, he will probably take a statistical step back.
What do you mean anomaly? He got better every single year. Acho, if you won 3 straight hands in blackjack, are you getting up on the 4th hand?
No, I'm not.
Are you scared of the 4th hand? So why in the hell are you scared of the 4th season?
Yes. And
Why? Because you're scared.
No,
You fear of success.
No,
Fear of success.
Because
Law of averages.
Thank you, because you're smart.
Yeah.
The law averages.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking,
Yeah.
if you win 3 in a row, you're going to lose that 4th one. Now, I'm still going to double my bet and hope for the best, but statistically speaking, the law of averages. The law of averages say this, Marcellus.
What it say? I know what it
Josh
say.
Allen has 67 touchdowns over the 3 seasons. So on average, he should pass for 22 passing touchdowns, really 22 and a third. He passed for 37 last year. The law of averages says he should pass for 22. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, keep subscribing to the law of averages, because you know what? You're a law-abiding citizen.
I ain't average.
You average as hell. Coming up, Justin Fields and Kyle Shanahan seem to be really hitting it off at his pro day. You knew I was going to get you. We'll tell you if the 49ers are the best fit for Fields. Next, speak for yourself. You're a model citizen.
Justin Fields had a second pro day yesterday, and Kyle Shanahan and general manager John Lynch, they were front and center because the Niners have the 3rd pick in the draft, and Fields' name has been mentioned as a possibility, along with Alabama quarterback Mac Jones and Trey Lance. So, Sal, are the 49ers the best fit for Justin Fields?
No, it's not the best fit for him. One, there's somebody there that's the best fit for him, but they don't appreciate him.
When are you going to accept the fact that Jimmy G's no longer going to be the quarterback for the Niners?
When he's not. But right now, I'm not going to project it because he's the straw that stirs the drink up there. That's the only thing I could believe in. Great defense when healthy. Hopefully they're healthy this year. I saw Bosa out there getting it again with them big old thighs. That dude be getting it. Hope he's healthy. But the point is, why did they have success? Why are we even talking about the 49ers? You mean the same 49ers that went 5 straight years with losing seasons, non-playoff seasons, before Jimmy GQ said, let me give you 1 full season and take you to the Super Bowl? That guy is in your way, Justin Fields, if you go there. And then if I'm Justin Fields, do I really want to go somewhere where a coach hasn't shown he's a winning head coach and he can't really develop or grow any other talent at that position? Like, I trust in me if I'm Justin Fields. Do I trust in him? I'll get back to him. Do I trust in this situation? Because I know if I go there and then all of a sudden I'm asked to play not even year 1, year 2, you know what the expectations are, seriously, Acho? Win the Super Bowl. Why? Because even with Jimmy GQ, we made it to the Super Bowl and lost. So Justin Fields is going to be staring at that day 1 when he's a full-time starter. Win the Super Bowl or where is Jimmy GQ again? So I'm going to say my Kyle Shanahan love for my next slap. You better give me the ball back right now. But the point is, if I'm Justin Fields, let me go somewhere else where there's a little more runway in front of me. Give me some.
Okay,
some
I got 2 minutes to get us to break.
Oh, you ain't right. Save me some ribs.
No. 49ers are the best fit for Justin Fields.
No, it's not.
And Justin Fields is the best fit for the 49ers.
No, it's
You're
not.
talking about the most talented as far as potential quarterback in the draft. Now, he might be way more raw than Trevor Lawrence, but he is the most talented, in my opinion, as far as potential. Last time we saw a quarterback run this fast as Justin Fields ran, Robert Griffin. Robert Griffin ran a 4.41. Justin Fields ran a 4.44. What did Kyle Shanahan do with Robert Griffin? Remember, they were together in 2012, Robert Griffin's rookie year. He only won the Rookie of the Year award over the greatest quarterback since Trevor Lawrence to come out of college, Andrew Luck. So remember, Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, they're the greatest things to come out of college from the quarterback position since the turn of the century. Justin Fields is not supposed to be as good as Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
But with Kyle Shanahan, Robert Griffin endured greater success than Andrew Luck. With Kyle Shanahan, Justin Fields may be able to endure that same kind of success in comparison with his counterparts, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, etc. Man, it's a great fit, Sale, and I think we deserve this fit. Justin Fields, he had 40 passing touchdowns, 1 interception going into the national championship game this previous season, not this last season, the year before. 40 touchdowns to 1 pick, and he's a 4.4 running QB, 6'3", 224. Come on, Sale, that's a match made in heaven.
It is if you believe in Kyle Shanahan, and you know I do not. Look, how do you think that he's a genius at the offensive coordinator position and just assume...
That's a whole block.
We're going to do it.
Conversation is a
And
whole
just
block.
assume he's going to be that as a head coach because right now he has a losing record outside of Jimmy GQ and with Jimmy GQ. How do we know he's not Charlie Weiss? 3-time Super Bowl champion as a coordinator. How'd that turn out as a head coach? What about Josh McDaniels? How'd that turn out? How about Kevin Gilbride going way back? I got a list of dudes who couldn't graduate like Acho did. You went from being on every show at the car wash, being an analyst on every show. Not everybody could turn into a great host like you.
So now you compliment me? What happened to last block? What happened to the block before that? What happened to the block before that?
Wait
so
till
now
the
I'm a
next
good host?
block. You
Working
wait.
with you.
I'm coming at you one more time. Coming up, the champs are here. The champs in the building. We'll tell you if Tom Brady's Bucs have won the offseason. That's next on Speak for Yourself. I just wanted you to hear my point. Bucs are already returning all 22 starters from their Super Bowl team, but they're still not done. Former Bengals running back Giovanni Bernard joined the defending champs and said he chose Tampa because, quote, I feel like they're continuing to build even though they've already won a Super Bowl. So, Acho, have Brady's Bucs won the offseason?
Absolutely, Sal. When you win the championship and you do not get worse, we have to assume that you have won the offseason. Now, that's the easy take. That's the lazy take. So let's get to the actual meat and potatoes of it all. The interesting thing is the Bucs didn't get substantially better. No, they were already better than everybody else. They didn't get worse.
They didn't get better?
They didn't get substantially better.
You don't think?
Hell, they brought back everybody. Giovanni Bernard is a big addition. Since he got into the league, he's third in the NFL in catches from the running back position, and Tom Brady desperately needed a running back who could catch the ball at the backfield.
Preach.
They thought LaShawn McCoy was going to be that. He wasn't. They thought Leonard Fournette could be that. He didn't. So the Bucs got minimally better, but they didn't get substantially better. I mean, not compared to, say, the Rams. Rams think they upgraded in a major way at the quarterback position. And so you got some teams, even the Browns, you get Troy Hill at the cornerback position, you bring in a safety, you get like substantially better. But the Bucs, They were already better than everybody else, and they didn't get worse. The question is, can their lack of getting worse still keep them ahead of other teams that got better?
Boy, you are a wordsmith for real. They told me when they first had me, you gonna work with Acho. I was like, that boy like 22. I don't want to work with him. Then I heard you speak again. I said, oh, he's so eloquent. And you just full of that BS. What the hell are you talking about?
Sounds great.
It sounds amazing.
Great every time.
No, they won last offseason. They won this season, the Super Bowl, and they won this offseason. And you said they didn't get substantially better? Oh, why? They have continuity now. Uh-oh. Off-season. Uh-oh. Preseason. Uh-oh. Still got the chip. Oh. Hunger. Bernard, who's going to help. And you know Tom Brady loves him.
That's true.
Running
That's
back.
so true.
Edelman's coming after Halloween in a Gronkowski mask. Talking about, I'm back. And most importantly, the last quarterback to repeat in the NFL is their quarterback. You don't think that's substantial, Big Dog?
No.
Your turn.
Because, Sal, let's bring this entire show full circle if we shall.
I'm here.
The Chiefs, they had continuity after winning the Super Bowl the year before, and the Chiefs did not get substantially worse.
They didn't win all season, though.
Matthew came back. Travis Kelce came back.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes came back.
Facts.
Chris Jones came back. Tyreek Hill came back. Mecole came back. And they drafted a first-round running back after finishing 26th and rushing the year before. So they did improve at the running back position like the Bucs improved at the running back position. But what happened in the back was a team that was getting better. So the Chiefs didn't get worse, but the Bucs was out here getting better. And the Bucs ended up catching and surpassing the Chiefs. Track and field to bring it all to a head.
Go.
You might not necessarily not be speeding up. But if you decelerating, what happens if somebody's still accelerating? So I'm saying the Bucs did not decelerate, but they ain't accelerate. What happens if somebody back there?
Yeah. Who you trust more as a captain of this plane? Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes? Tom Brady. You know why? Because when you hit that turbulence like they did in that Super Bowl against each other, Tom Brady, this is your captain speaking. Everything's going to be fine. You know what Patrick Mahomes did? Silence. Didn't respond to it. Everybody panicking in the back. What we going to do? What the hell? We going down. Tom Brady, relax. Aaron Rodgers style. They got much better, man. They got every element you need to build momentum, and they got the best pilot in the game. Still flying at high altitude. That was pretty good. Coming up, Luka Doncic pulled a rabbit out of his hat last night. Yes, he did. We'll tell you if he's on his way to being the NBA's best player. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Boom, boom.
Luka the Don Doncic must have wanted a challenge last night since he split two defenders and leaned in to hit a game-winning three-pointer to beat the Grizzlies. Luka even said he was surprised that it went in and called the shot, quote, kind of lucky. So, Marcellus, is Luka on his way to being the best NBA player?
Yes, he is, but he's not by himself. He's on that freeway, but there are other cars next to him, adjacent to him. Now, there's a log jam in front of him, obviously. KD to being the fastest and the best on this freeway. And then LeBron's right there, Steph, James Harden. But then, Luka's riding. Then he looks over there. He says, is that Jason Tatum? Nah. Zion. Damn, that's a big old car. Zion right there. Devin Booker. Ooh, nice little motorcycle. Point is, he's trying to get to that finish line first. Log jam in front of him. Other participants next to him.
I feel that take. I think Luka is trying to get there, and I think he's the one that's going to cut through after, like you said, the LeBron Jameses and all the other irrelevant names you mentioned outside of his besides Steph Curry. When you think about the 28-7-5 club, you got Luka, you got Durant, your boy, you got Giannis. When you think about the 25-7-7 club, you got Luka, you got LeBron, you got the Joker, and you got Harden. Regardless of what club you want to go to, regardless of how esteemed the club is, you gonna find Luka in that club. And for that reason, when you talk about the elites, whether you're talking about 28-7-5, 25-7-7, how many boards you gonna get, how many points you gonna get, how many assists you gonna drop, Luka's gonna be in that club waiting on you like, oh, y'all just now showing up at only 22 years of age, Sal? He that dude.
I don't know. Zion got a bigger name and same game, so he might get a little more fame. I'm rhyming up here right now because if Zion just stays close to Luka, wherever they are right now in terms of performance, with Zion's name recognition, Q rating, all of the momentum that he brought into the NBA because of his collegiate career, he is a mega star, so be careful of that one. That's it for us. Fox Bet Live. Hi, Rachel. Y'all next.